Good job.
Okay, awesome. So welcome to the first Google Hangout with role models. Kevin and Chuck, you guys introduce yourselves?
Sure, I'm Chuck. I'm a mechanical engineer here at the workshop, and my responsibility is to work on the design, the shape, the color of the robot, and the internal mechanical parts that allow it to move, drive around, turn its head, and so on.
So my name is Kevin. I'm a software engineer here. Initially I wrote most of the software, so Blockly and parts of the Wonder that you see. Now my entire team is responsible for everything that you see from our website to all the apps, all the content that you guys play with for Dash and Dot.
Great. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Aaliyah, is that how you say your name?
Okay. I'm Aaliyah.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 6th grade.
Okay. And are you participating in the robotics competition this year or just last year?
Yeah, I am.
Cool. And who else is there? Team operations. Oh wait. 3 robot rocketeers. You guys want to introduce yourself?
The third one is coming still. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering why there were only 2 robot rocketeers.
Yeah, the third one's on its way.
Okay. What are your names?
I'm Rika. And I'm Saoirse.
Okay.
I'm 11. And I'm 7. And we are participating in the competition this year, as we also did it last year.
Cool. Where are you guys from?
Orem, Utah.
Orem, Utah. Okay, so I hear, there are some questions that you guys have prepared to ask. Does anyone want to go first with a question for Chuck?
I'll go first.
All right.
Okay. So, what inspires the design for new projects?
That's a great question. I was really happy that you're asking it right now. So typically we try to think about solving a problem or finding an opportunity to introduce something that's deficient or lacking in the consumer space. So with Dash and Dot, we try to target different age groups and different levels for engagement for kids to learn computer science. So that's like the first stroke. And then the next thing to think about is, what's the interface? What's the physical interface going to be like? How big should it be? How much should it weigh? Is it going to move? Is it going to talk? And you start really hashing out the individual aspects of the product, but you keep in the back of your mind that original question is, what are we trying to solve? What's the goal? What's the purpose? The core goal of the product? And hopefully every little detail you add to it answers that question a little bit. But there's a lot of, kind of fun, frills, bells and whistles we put on the robot, which not always specific to the goal in mind, but we try to make it cool as well. So I don't know if that answers it all the way. If you have a follow-up question, you can keep going.
Okay. I was wanting to know, where did the idea for Dash and Dots come from?
Also a very good question, and one that we kind of talk about sometimes here at Wonder Workshop. Originally, one of our co-founders, Vikas, has a background in computer science, like Kevin, and he has small kids. And he was thinking that there isn't really, like same with Aaliyah's question, this problem where we don't have good tools to introduce computer science in a fun way to kids. So how can we solve that problem? And that was like the seed that grew into Dash and Dot robots, is providing robotic pals that can introduce a new generation of computer programmers to the thing that he used as his discipline in school. So that was the first start of the robots.
Nice.
So we have a question from Kathy White, who is a teacher on the channel. Her question is more about the robotics competition. So it's if most of the teams accomplish the challenges, what will set one team apart from another when judging them with a rubric? Given the points, how do we decide who wins if they all get the same point? And that's a really good question. It's a question that we've gotten from a lot of teachers. So last year, when we were grading the challenges, actually not very few people got all the points from the, the rubric. And so this year, we're only trying to narrow it down to 30 teams, and those will be the finalists based on the points. And this year, we also made it a little bit harder, especially if you're in the age 9 to 12 bracket, to actually get all the points. Like, you have to think a bit harder about your algorithm and how to make it work under different situations. And then after that, it's kind of like blank slate. Everyone starts from the same place again, and then we'll have another set of challenges for the finalists. And yeah, we're definitely thinking about things like there would be kind of like a book report style video that people will make, but that's only for the 30 teams once we've narrowed it down to that. So in order to get to the final winner, there'll be kind of a different set of challenges. Cool. So do you guys want to ask the next question?
So Chuck, will you make other robots or dash and dots in different sizes?
Give me 1 second, buddy. Okay. Yes. The question is, if I heard it right, will you make other robots in different sizes? And yes, in 2 ways. Physically, we'll definitely play with form factor. We'll look at robots that are a little bit bigger than Dash and certainly smaller than Dash, but also size in terms of the people that they're intended for. So we're going to make robots that are more specifically dialed in for different age groups, both older and younger. And that's another really good question, because it's one that we ask ourselves all the time is, who are we not reaching most effectively out there, because a lot of kids are getting into computer science now.
Yeah, and then Kathy also has another question about the competition. It is, how do we videotape and upload to the site? Is it straightforward, or do we need to do anything special like using iMovie? So this year we want to make it super easy for you. Like, you can just record a video of the robot completing the mission, as long as we can kind of tell where in the grid the robot is. So it's probably better for you to like zoom out and kind of record it from farther away so that we can see kind of the grid, not just super close to the robot. And yeah, you just need to like record for each challenge and then submit your link. And so you don't need to do anything special. Like, if you want to have fun with it, you can dress your robots up and things like that, but you don't need to like, edit or anything. You don't even need to put the videos together, because there's going to be a link for each video. And you can upload it to YouTube and have it unlisted, or you can do like Drive, and that link, as long as it's set to where anyone can view the link.
Say hello.
Hello? Lost audio.
I'm still here.
Can you still hear us?
Yeah.
But they're stopped, right? Let me just put in a little note here. And Aaliyah, how do you spell your name?
A-L-I-A.
A-L-I-A?
Yeah.
Okay, I just put them in there. Oops, when I didn't get the space in there. I'm trying to type sideways. Oh, and now they're gone.
That's weird.
Is your mom there? Is your mom there?
Uh-huh.
Can you tell her that the video and the audio feed for the Wonder League team just dropped out?
Yeah. Okay. I can't hear you. The Wonder League people are gone.
Click on the mail. Let's see if they sent a new site.
What mail?
Over here, top corner. Oh wait, there's the Kathy White.
I take a lot of data.
No. Scroll down.
Hello.
All the way down.
They're back.
Okay, but we
Can
can't.
you guys hear me? I'm really.
Okay.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
You can't see us, but you can hear me. All right.
We can hear you now. Yeah.
There's just them.
Okay.
But the video is gone. We can still see Aaliyah, and we can hear Aaliyah, and now we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Well, there should be like a.
So are they all back on now?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think of it as a phone call. And you can still ask your questions.
Okay.
Oh, there you are again.
Back.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Our
everyone
internet
has
is
internet problems.
a little bit shaky today.
No worries.
Thanks. Okay. So I think June was. What was the last thing you guys heard? June was explaining something about this competition, but then it got cut off.
She was talking about uploading the videos.
Yeah. Uploading the videos. Oh wait. Okay. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So yeah. You don't need to add any special effects. You can just upload the video of your robot. So. Cool.
I just had a question real quick.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why are you so interested in helping kids learn about programming?
Yeah, I've taken a lot. Kevin, you want
Yeah,
to
Kevin,
well,
do you
you
want to
have
answer?
that one? Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, programming is cool. I mean, I'm an engineer, and I really love the fact that when I first started programming, I can build anything with just a computer in my mind and what I dream of, and I think that's really cool. And definitely, as I've gotten older, it's fun. Not only do I get to build stuff with robots, I get to build cool programs for smart and talented kids like you guys. But also, like on my free time, we just build whatever idea that comes into our. For the next 2 days, we're gonna take 2 days off.
Did they stop again?
We just lost audio again.
You're freezing again.
Okay, so we begin.
Okay, so
Still frozen.
oh yeah, Aaliyah, did you participate last year?
Yeah.
What place did you get?
We can try to go.
We got in the middle.
Did you have fun, Aaliyah?
Yeah. What about you guys?
We had fun.
What was your favorite challenge?
shuttle one?
Yeah, the shuttle one.
We had to take off.
Yeah, the shuttle one was probably the favorite
Where
one.
you took off.
Where we took off.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we actually built a shuttle on ours.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we used Legos and Lego mounts and built an actual shuttle around that.
That's cool.
Okay, let's see. We're back. Someone else asked, when is the first challenge and how long do we have to complete it? So we've already released all the challenges. If you go to makewonder.com/competition, you'll be able to see them. And you don't need to like submit them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at any time, as long as you submit all of them by December 15th. We wanted to make it less confusing. Like you don't really have to pay. Well, you should pay attention to emails, but it's not like super important to submit anything by a specific time, as long as it's before the deadline.
So they can be turned in one at a time. They don't have to be turned in all together.
Yeah, you can upload them at any time on the competition page, and we won't look at it. And so you can replace what you upload to. We won't look at it until after the deadline. So yeah, you can upload everything as you go, or you can upload everything at the same time. Whatever makes sense for you. And then someone also asked if a team finishes the mission in several ways, should we upload all solutions or choose one to upload? That's a good question. So I think choosing one is sufficient. So you only need to choose one program, maybe your favorite, most efficient way that you made it happen. So
You have to put your headphones on.
okay. Does anyone have any questions for Kevin?
I have questions for both of them.
Okay.
So what was your favorite part of your education?
All right. Yeah. So I really enjoyed getting to work with my hands in my education. It's mandatory to work in a machine shop for part of it, and it's something I try to do now is do hands-on prototyping and working in the physical space as well as conceptual drawing and 3D drawing and sketching, which is where we start with a lot of our designs for the robots. I also really like teamwork, group projects. Lot similar to what you guys are doing now. I find that having more minds and more thoughts ends up challenging some of your own ideas, and then you end up learning more about some assumptions you had going in, and certainly learning from someone who like Kevin, who's in a different discipline of engineering than I am. Just hanging out with him every day helps me learn a lot. So group projects and hands-on for me.
Okay. So I have another question. What do you do when a team member disagrees with another team member's idea?
It's a good question.
Steal?
Disagrees?
Oh, disagrees.
Steals for another one? I would say, try to keep an open mind and hear your team member out all the way. Keep in mind that you guys are both there to solve a problem together, and the ways that people differ about how to go about doing that can sometimes lead to disagreement or argument, but just remembering that we're actually on the same team and we both want to do well together, I think kind of helps take some of the ego and some of the personality out of it. And then usually give it a little bit of time if someone's really committed to an idea, because it's hard to change someone's opinion in a moment. So I just think patience and keeping your ears open.
And I'll add on to that a little bit. I definitely agree with Chuck. It's a team thing, and sometimes discussion is hard to resolve. One of the ways we also do here a lot is, if both of us have good idea, all of us have good idea, let's just try it. Let's build something quickly, and then look at it as a team and say, how does it really feel? A lot of times in the room when we talk about things, it's really hard for others to see it, others to imagine what that looks like. But as soon as you build something of it, then it's a discussion point. And what we find is that a lot of times disagreement turns into, oh, this part is great, that part is great, and we combine it together and it makes something really, really awesome.
Yeah, and another thing you can do if you guys have conflicts or disagreements in your robotics club is you can just, each person can program it their own way maybe, and then you can test it out and see, you know, which one actually like works better than the other one. And, you know, that's totally okay too. You don't have to program everything together. You can all try to like, you know, like you can break off into smaller teams and see which one, okay, so someone asked, how do you see the teamwork side of the competition, how each team works together and decides to accomplish the challenges? They are finding it fun to watch each group and how they approach the task. Yeah, I mean, we don't grade teamwork, but usually because it's hard for us, at least in the first round, to grade for teamwork because it's so subjective. It's not like something we can say, yes, this happened, or no, this didn't. And so, but it is like one of the biggest like learning opportunities in participating. Like a lot of people think like, oh, competition is just about programming, but it's actually more about teamwork than anything else. So we're excited that you guys will get to discover that on your own.
And I have to say also, like, it also shows in the final solution and the product. Chuck and I, we like each other. And I think it's the teamwork. We have disagreements, but I think it's the teamwork that really ends up building a good product, whether it's a physical product, a software product, or even just programs in a competition. Yeah,
and actually, you know, I think like and Kathy also just said that she wishes that we could see the teamwork. If you have like Twitter or anything, you can post kind of, you know, tips or, you know, some little stories of how your team has worked together with the hashtag WonderLeague and those tweets and all of those posts. And we
Hello? Oh my gosh, they froze again. What did you do? I didn't. It just... Crap. Dang it. Okay, there we go. Oh no, they froze again.
I'm not frozen.
What?
I'm not frozen.
No, you're not frozen, but the other guys are.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I need to plug this thing in. Sorry, trying to plug into the computer. They froze again. Move over, please, Lucia. Okay.
Hello?
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, we are back. We've gone to a different room, so hopefully that will help.
Hello?
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, guys. Just came by. That's cool. Oh, yes. We're in this way.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I think we lost the other guys, but maybe they're trying to get back.
I thought they were asking.
Aaliyah, were you asking something?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so I can read off a question that someone asked. Miriam, age 10, from Chelsea, Massachusetts. How did you come up with all the cues for dash and dot? To Kevin.
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually came up with a superset of all the cues, all the possible cues for the robot. I think the first set had a roughly 80 to 90 cues.
Wow.
We have a lot of really random cues, and we just use it tested. We wanted to make sure these cues make sense and that it's actually fun. So we actually went through a lot of testing with the kids at schools and whatnot to see what they like, what they understood, what they didn't understand, and so on and so forth. And that's how we're able to whittle down to about 30, 35 cues that we have today.
Yeah, and they're all things that the robot knows and that kids maybe can see the robot knowing. So, like a distance sensor, or if it can see another robot. Chrissy asks, what is the shell or body of dash and dot made of? Chuck, this is a question for you.
So it's a type of plastic called ABS. A as in alpha, B as in beta, S as in Sierra, and it's very commonly used in household products. Like the cases of home phones are made of ABS, and remote controls for televisions are made of ABS. So it's a pretty strong and inexpensive plastic, and it actually polishes up really nicely. So that's why we use it for dash and dot.
Cool.
Cool. The three roboteers. I think you guys were in the middle of asking something when we cut out, right?
I can't remember. We were just asking about getting along with people when they disagree with you.
Yeah, we were talking about getting along with people when they disagree with you.
Oh, okay. Cool. I think we already.
Yeah, but maybe we got cut off, is it?
Oh, okay.
So did we get any response through to you guys, or did we drop out right away?
We heard a little bit of response, and then our computer told us we were low on power, so I went to grab the cord.
All right.
And then I plugged in the cord, and the screen went blank.
I see. That happens sometimes.
So we could answer it again quickly. Part of my answer was that that's very common to have disagreements in groups, and something that we run into here. And one approach is to just keep in the back of your mind that your teammates are also trying to help and solve the same problem that you're trying to help, and that even though they're coming at it from a different angle, they try to be patient and consider their viewpoint as well, and maybe not try to change their mind right away until both sides have had a chance to think about what the other side has said. And Kevin had some really good input as well.
So my answer, definitely what Chuck said is very important. And to add on top of that is a lot of times disagreements, especially in software, we just kind of build it. We build a quick prototype, something smaller, but kind of what we want, and show each other. then it's really easy to build on top of each other. A lot of times what we end up doing is we'll take part of one person's idea, part of another person's idea, and then we realize that putting them together makes even a better super idea, if you will. And that's how a lot of our apps actually came about.
Yes. Great. Okay, Anne asks, when you have two different programs for one mission, can you have two lines of code on Wonder, or do they have to be linked together as one? Can you submit more than one key for a mission? Your solution should really be one program. So if you have two lines of code, maybe you can think about maybe how you can make it into like one program. And one thing that you can do to just like practice using Wonder and practice linking states is to go to the scroll quest and try out some of the challenges there. And then that should help you kind of like get better at using Wonder.
I had a question. How long did it take you guys to create Dot and Dash?
That's another great question. I would say altogether from the first conversation about Dash and Dot to the day that we shipped the first robots was probably close to 2 years. But future generations of robots, we will try to do them in about 12 months. So I think the first pass was harder because we didn't know as much as we do now, and that future products will be a little bit quicker.
Yep.
What?
Okay. Someone asks, what are ways to master all of the cues besides the scroll quest?
Try it.
Try it out.
We find that helps if you play with it a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe like put in 2 states and then try using one cue and then changing into another one, changing it again, and trying it is the best way.
Yeah, and I find that when I try it, I messed up a lot, but I had a lot of fun messing up.
Humberto asks, when you force Dash to move and the wheels click, what is happening?
Humberto, it could be a number of things. It sounds like maybe a gear tooth has sheared off one of the gears. That's not a good thing. There are clutches in the drivetrain that are supposed to protect the gears, but sometimes they fail. So maybe you can shoot me an email of a video of what's going on, and I can take a closer look at it. But it is something that definitely can happen. I'm sorry that you're going through that. Maybe you can respond and see if is it still driving at all, or is it like slipping a little bit when you try to drive it?
Maybe he can email you.
Okay.
His email is chuck@makewonder.com for everyone who wants to email Chuck.
Yeah, you can email me just to say hi anytime.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any other questions for Kevin?
Yeah. What is your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job? That's a great question. One of them is Chuck, for sure. The other is June. They're all sitting right here. Aside from the people that I work with, and aside from coding, which I love, I think the biggest reward, my favorite part is to be able to see the impact that our end product has on kids. I think this is the reason why I came to work for this company, and it's great to see that you guys are enjoying it. Like I see the smile on you guys' faces, being able to talk to you guys when I user test, to try to think about how do we solve this problem, and when we see that smile on the kid's face, and then we realize we got it, that's the greatest feeling in the world. So, because it could be months, like Chuck said, like Dash and Dot, like we spent 2 years, and it was a lot of failures. But once we got it, it was awesome.
So.
So what's your favorite part of your job, Chuck?
It's similar to what Kevin is a favorite. It is a really fun place to work. I'm grateful for the culture we have here. I also really appreciate contributing to a project that then goes out in the world and you get to see it interact with your end customers and get feedback from them. Sometimes when you're working on something, it takes a very long time. You can lose sight of that original question, that original problem you tried to solve. But fortunately for us, we get to know if the thoughts we had and the efforts we made to solve the problem are working. And if they're not, then we have a chance to make a change and try something else. So I really like that loop, that cycle where we put something out and get something back.
My name is Nolly. It's Darian like that. How did you get started in the design and programming when you were young?
Programming.
Yeah. Story.
Actually, it's a good question. I always thought I was going to be a professional basketball player, but I was a little too short. Actually, it started off. I actually really liked math in high school. But my math teacher, and I never programmed before, and my math teacher said, "Hey, you should check out a programming class when you go to college." And the first time I was able to make something happen with just click of the keyboard, that was when I was like, okay, this is it for me. And it's kind of similar to what you guys are doing. You guys are, first of all, having robots and making them move in some of these really hard challenges. That's what inspires and kind of influences what you might want to do growing older. In the case, that was me clicking on the keyboard. So, college.
So you guys are going to become even better programmers
way better,
than Kevin because you're starting way earlier.
I agree. I think a lot of you are already better than I am. I also, my high school didn't have any programming at all, and I had to take one as a prerequisite for my mechanical engineering studies in college. So I actually quite liked it, but I wasn't as good at it as some other things, and so I kind of stayed more on the physical side. And I probably should have challenged myself more to work in programming. And I think it was someone's earlier question about why we make these robots, or why are we so interested in giving them to young kids. I think it's because in our experience we know that we could have started earlier, and I think that if you start earlier you're going to get a lot farther by the time you're our ages. So it's great that you guys are doing it now.
How much math do you actually use in programming and design?
Okay,
Program.
so from programming software-wise, actually not too much. For us, it's really just trying to figure out problems. So we use a lot of logic. But in terms of math, there's some math that's involved, but nothing super complicated. Different for you, probably.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not so much road memorization like we did it when we were younger in school, but when we design the speed for which we want the robot to move across the ground, for example, we need to think about gear ratios, and there is math that goes into that, the number of gear teeth, how big the gears are. So that's trigonometry there. And we also calculate things like impact force for drop testing and torque of the motors, and we design for motor spec. So there is actual math in there now, but fortunately when we do the 3D drawings, the computer program that creates those drawings is doing tremendous amount of calculus behind the scenes and behind the screen, but we don't have to worry about that as designers. So being very familiar with your tools, computer or hand tools, is helpful to avoid some of the toughest math problems.
So I had also a question, mostly for you, Chuck.
All right.
Have you ever thought for Dash about maybe making his head magnetic to attach to the body? Because sometimes children might try to pull up the head and it might break the toy robot. So have you ever thought of keeping the head moving but make it so it can detach from the body?
Yeah,
and go around on its own, like that. Well, not exactly like that, but.
Actually, that's a really great question, and it's one that has actually been asked before because Dot's form factor is identical to Dash's head. So the mind's eye kind of says like, well, yeah, why can't I interchange these things? Why is this head not detachable? So we try to design the connection point between the head and the body to be strong enough to resist the temptation to separate them. And we use a special type of plastic called glass-filled nylon to do that. Actually, my earlier question, I was kind of too vague in the response. There's many types of plastic that are used in the robot. As far as magnetic attachment, it's a great idea. Magnets are the coolest thing ever, and we talk about ways to attach accessories magnetically to the robot. There are some limitations to that. The strength of magnets reduces greatly as you move away from the magnetic source. So to get something to feel really strong and good, you need to use a big magnet, and that can add cost and weight and some other things. But using magnets in future accessories is very, very possible. As far as Dash's head being removable right now, we have some other things like wires and lights and things inside the head which require physical connections. So magnetic connection in that instance is probably too difficult for us. But the idea of detaching the head and or using magnets in the robot is certainly something to think about.
And I can illustrate a little bit. So inside the robot, there's actually two major motherboards. So there's one motherboard that goes along the body here that actually control most of the motor and the body and the sensors. There's actually a small motherboard that's actually vertically embedded here, and that control the lights and light controls and the button controls here. So there's actually a lot of wires going through the neck actually.
Okay. So how did the idea for Dot and Dash start?
I took it last time. You want to?
It was great. It was great.
One of our co-founders, Vikas, has young children of his own, and he has a background in computer science. And he was noticing that there aren't really good tools in the marketplace to introduce his children to his profession. And he thought maybe we could come up with something, a platform that would be fun and engaging. It would also introduce young children to the basic principles of programming. And that thought was actually the start of Wonder Workshop. And it was a lot of iterations, a lot of twists and turns to get to where we have Dash and Dot now. But it started with that need that we're trying to fill.
Yeah, originally we weren't even going to build a robot. It was like going to be maybe like a model car that you can add different parts to it that would program the car, different moves for the car. There was another idea where you had like cards, like physical like paper cards on the ground, and like something that would run over it with a camera looking down at the cards, and that would give it its program. But what we really wanted to do was like make it the platform like really flexible, so like you can program basically anything on your iPad or your phone. And then Dash, you don't need to like do anything, put anything onto Dash to be able to program it, because like otherwise you would be limited in what you could do with it, because there's only so many things you can like put on something. So yeah, that's why it became a robot.
Nice. Okay. So Chuck, Kevin, and June, do any of you have kids?
No.
I do not.
We don't.
I'm a big kid, so.
Yeah,
So am I.
I can barely take care of myself, so I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
But there are many of our coworkers that have kids in Wonder Workshop. I shouldn't make it seem like that. We have a lot of parents here. It was probably close to 40% or half and half,
Yeah,
I think,
like half.
have kids. Yeah.
So people work here, either they have kids and they really want to help to make the world better for their kids, or people like us who actually grew up and wishing we had this earlier when we were kids, and so we come and actually want to make this thing.
Yeah, okay. There are a couple more questions from the internet. Someone asked about the points. What if there are more than 30 teams that get maximum points? We would love for 30 teams to get maximum points. I think like we're open to letting more teams be finalists if like more teams, more than 30, get maximum points. We think that like the points this year are pretty hard to get, so but there could be definitely ties, and like we would be open to allowing more than 30 finalists. And then someone asked about expanding our computer science curriculum. Besides the lesson plans on our site, we actually just hired someone to build curriculum for us, so all teachers will be able to see a better, like more extensive curriculum that's computer science, scoped and sequenced for like first grade, second grade, different grade levels. And so we're really excited that she's here. We haven't had a curriculum person on board full time until now, so that is really exciting. And how will we participate in the Hour of Code? So we've submitted some lessons to code.org that they'll be posting, and we will also have a challenge in Blocklave, a special challenge for Hour of Code. So you can watch out for that.
Cool. This is for everybody here.
Okay.
What is your favorite feature about Dash and Dot?
Everyone? I can start. So I really like the personality, especially Dot's personality, because I think Dot is really funny, and Dot kind of like talks back at you, which I kind of like. Well, I don't talk back to anyone, but
Sure.
I think Dot is silly.
Yeah, I actually have two features. So one is I like the sound recording. It's cool to be able to make Dash and Dot say whatever I want, but in a higher pitched voice. And the other is I don't know if you guys ever tried it, but if you drive Dash really, really quickly and all of a sudden stop, it actually pops a wheelie. Yeah, I really like that.
I might be a little biased because I work on the mechanical aspect of the robots, but I really like what our animator Tim does to make Dash dance. The movements he combines to some very basic 4-axis movement. You get some really expressive physical gestures out of Dash, and I agree with June that Dot's personality is very charming and I think speaks louder than motion in some cases. So just personality, whether it's vocal or physical.
What is your least favorite feature about Dot and Dash?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'll send it back around. The Dot actually, from a product standpoint, is very reliable. It doesn't fail too often. But one thing that we constantly work on, and Kevin mentioned earlier that we're going to take a couple of days here this week to think about new ideas and for product, is trying to get Dot rather, to move some. So it's something that I think is obviously lacking in Dot, and so that's frustrating to a lot of us because we see the potential of the product, but when compared to a moving robot, you see something's missing. And Dash, my least favorite components of it are the ones that tend to fail the soonest. So it sounds like Umberto had a gear go down. Previously, motors have burned out or wires have broken inside of it. And that, makes me feel kind of like I let down the customer. So, that's something that I try to improve every chance I get.
So for me, I think, with Dot is making Dot move. With Dash, I think we didn't really realize until we built the robot, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but the distance sensor is low. We did this before so that we make sure that, when Dash drives to something, Dash will see it. Unfortunately, what happened is, even I do this, when I play with Dash, a lot of times I'm like, hello, and I look and I try to cover its eyes, and it doesn't see it because the sensors are here. And I think that's something that, if I was to redo it again, I would really consider where does it make sense from a user's perspective.
Yeah. What would I say? I mean, I think I would like it if Dash had an arm that could grab things. That would be cool. Everyone would want that.
Yeah, we're working on it.
But yeah, that's something that might be coming in the future.
Well, I'm sure if that came out, I'm sure everybody would be putting together programs for their little Dash robots to go fetch some things.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We like the catapult, though.
Oh yeah, the catapult.
Woo.
Yeah, I wish the balls wouldn't come off when Dash is moving his head around. In the catapult.
Yeah, it's that
though.
initial like animation that does that.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys. So if you wish that Dash could do something that it can't do, or Dot, I guess, what would it be?
Probably that Dot could move on her own. Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, there are a couple of things, actually. Maybe have two attachments that could somehow make Dash fly. Or, like a drum. Or have his head eject off from the body and just start rolling around.
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be fun.
I agree that it would be awesome if Dot could just roll around, like, everywhere.
Yeah, and roll her eyes while it's rolling around.
Yeah.
That would be fun. It's like, why am I rolling again? Okay. Someone asked if Dash and Dot are waterproof. No, they are not. Definitely don't bring them into the ocean.
Not at all.
Kevin, was it hard to make Dash and Dot?
That's actually Chuck's question.
Well, there's a lot that goes into robot besides
That is
thing.
That is true.
Maybe you can talk about some of the challenges of.
Yeah, what are the challenges you faced in making Dash and Dot?
So it depends on what part of the programming you're talking about. So inside the robot itself, we actually have to write programs to react to so you can have the sensors and then the motors to drive and so on and so forth. So those coding problems are actually pretty interesting in that we actually have very limited CPU processing time, as well as a very limited working memory to actually store variables and whatnot. So a lot of times we're the problem is we're trying to do all these things in such a little bit of resources. How do we make it more efficient? And when we're troubleshooting, is literally troubleshooting ones and zeros. The numbers that you see in the cartoon about programming, like a lot of times we had to debug using ones and zeros and stuff like that to see what's going on. In terms of the app side, the problem is actually more higher up. So it's just to be able to write performance code. So we're not really constrained by memory per se or CPU. But the problem is really more of how we have a lot of ways to do a lot of things. How do we do it in a way that works with the user? So a lot of our problems is really we code it up and we build something and we really iterate with kids and see what works and what doesn't. So that challenge is a little bit different there.
What was your favorite part about creating Dot and Dash?
It was pretty fun the first time I was at the factory and I saw parts coming out of these big steel tools that mold the plastics that you see on the robots. And until then, you were all kind of looking at it in hand prototypes and on the computer and drawings. And then for me, that moment when it becomes physical is really exciting. So I quite like the first engineering builds we did. I agree. I got it right.
Have you ever thought of making Dash and Dot waterproof?
That's a good question. So to create seals and electromechanical products like what Dash and Dot are, it takes a very, very careful approach to all the interfaces with the outside environment. So in the case of Dash, you have wheels which interface with the ground or the table, whatever you're driving on. But you can see that there are these gaps to the wheel well. So you need to seal that interior volume where the PCBs that Kevin was talking about from water while still allowing them to turn relative to the body of the robot. And that inherently will create friction between two surfaces. So to design an aquatic robot, and there are submarines and aquatic drones that exist in the world, but they don't typically also kind of work in the school or in the playroom or on the kitchen table. So we would try to design a robot specifically for the aquatic environment, and maybe not one that works in both the house and the swimming pool. Does that make sense?
Cool. So someone also asked, how accurate are Dash's movements? Does the surface that Dash is moving on make a difference, like carpet or floor, as people are working on their challenges?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're very accurate, but there are some things that can contribute to drift, and carpet is one of them. They're actually a grain to the carpet, like a bias where most of the fibers are tilted one way or another. And over the course of, maybe 30 meters, you might actually shift over a centimeter or two. So at large distances of travel, you might see some inaccuracies, but typically it's accurate within a degree, less than a degree.
And also, so that's on from the physical side. Software side, one of the engineers actually implemented this really cool system called positional coordinate system, called POSE for short. So in the wheels, the gears, there's actually things called encoders, which are just little spaces, and we're using that to calculate how far the robot drives. We also use the gyroscope inside the robot, and together we're able to do mathematical calculations to actually map out a coordinate system in space, and then we use we calculate the accuracy of turns based on those coordinates. Basically saying that if we want to go to coordinate 1, 2, like in the, let's say in like 2 seconds, like what is the actual voltage we have to send to the motors to actually get there. So we not only have pretty accurate in terms of mechanical side, we also try to enforce on software so that the accuracy doesn't get worse over time.
Yeah.
And the error rate is about 1 to 2% after a while.
Okay. We now have time for like 1 or maybe 2 questions. So does anyone have a burning question that they would like to ask?
Yeah, aside from Dash and Dot, what resources, websites would you recommend for learning coding for kids?
Sure. So have you guys looked on code.org? If you go to code.org, and they have, I think, a section for Hour of Code, they've like put together all the different places you can go to learn more about coding. So, like there's a lot of different websites you can use, but they've put them all together. So you can be like, well, what do I like? Do I like Minecraft? They have like something that you can use for like playing Minecraft and doing coding. Or if you like kind of like making your own kind of drawings, there's like Girls Who Code has made some like cool like creative things you can do. You can make friendship bracelets or something. And so yeah, so just go there and see what appeals to you.
Okay.
How long have you been at Wonder Workshop?
You guys want to answer that?
It's almost been 2.5 years for me.
It's almost 3 years for me.
Yeah, I've been here for 3 years too. Like I started probably I started actually November of 2013. Yeah.
So I think June's one of the first employees. I'm one of the first software engineers. Chuck is one of the first.
Yeah, actually we are the 3, like 10, I think. Yeah.
You're the longest.
The oldest. Yeah.
Okay, and then finally, I think this is going to be the last thing. Is there someone or some way to calibrate Dash to move more accurately? Their robots don't turn 90 degrees perfectly. I don't think there's a way.
So that, Umberto, that actually happens at the factory. We do a calibration stage, but once that's set at the factory, there isn't a top-level app that we expose that can do that. But maybe June can type in my email address, and you can send me a video of what's going on with your robots, because there may be something else wrong, like the motor might be wearing out or a gear may be broken, and that's what's resulting in the non-90-degree turning.
Yeah. It's also Chuck.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
It might help just to put it out there. And I forget who asked me about the types of plastic in the robot earlier, but I wish I'd given a more thorough answer. Maybe they can email me and I can hand on that a little bit.
Everyone can email him.
Everyone should email me.
Yeah. I just put the email address in the chat. Okay, cool. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I hope this was useful for everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks to Kevin and Chuck for talking to you guys. And then, thanks for your great questions.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time, guys. It was great to meet you all.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we're really sorry about our internet.
Totally.
Good luck in the competition.
Yeah,
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, and we'll share the link. Hopefully the recording came out. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Can I please edit this time?